I want you to close your eyes for a second. Picture a dinosaur that doesn't just challenge what you know, but fundamentally reshapes it.
Hmm.
We're talking about a predator far larger than a T-Rex. It has this long, narrow snout, almost like a crocodile's.
And that sail.
Yeah.
You can't forget the giant, magnificent sail running down its back.
Exactly. But then you look down and you see its hips and its legs,
Hmm.
and they just look oddly small.
And that's where our deep dive begins. We are talking about Spinosaurus, a creature so controversial that for the last decade or so, scientists have had to completely overhaul what they thought they knew about it.
Not just once, either.
Oh no, several times. This is the story of the largest known theropod, a true giant that hunted fish the size of, I don't know, a small car.
Yep.
All in these ancient, dangerous river systems of the Cretaceous.
For decades, though, the vision was so clear, wasn't it? You and I and everyone, we had this single, unified picture of Spinosaurus.
The ultimate monster.
Yeah, a 16-meter-long terror that was basically a T-Rex with a facelift and a sail. But as more evidence started to, emerge from the sands of North Africa, that foundation didn't just crack.
It completely shattered.
It did.
And that's really our mission for this deep dive. We want to trace that shifting scientific journey.
Yep.
We're going to explore how all this conflicting fossil evidence has turned an animal we thought we understood into, well, probably the greatest paleontological puzzle of our time.
And we're not talking about minor tweaks here. These are radical, completely competing theories about how this giant actually lived and moved.
To really get the intensity of this debate, you have to go back to the very beginning. And unfortunately, it's a story that starts with a real scientific tragedy.
It's a bit of a ghost story, really.
It is. It all begins in 1915 with a German paleontologist, Ernst Stromer. He's the one who unearthed the first fossils in Egypt.
And what did he find?
He found this dramatic set of incredibly narrow lower jaws. They were almost 2 meters long. And of course, those signature spines. The long neural spines sticking up from the backbone.
Which gave it the name Spinosaurus, the spined lizard.
Exactly. He knew right away he had something unique. He estimated the specimen was about 97 million years old. And he did everything right. He cataloged it, he sketched every detail, and then he shipped the remains back to Germany.
To the Bavarian State Collection of Paleontology in Munich.
And this is where the heartbreak sets in. For more than 20 years, those bones were the foundation of everything we knew about Spinosaurus. But then, during an Allied bombing raid in World War II,
the museum was hit.
The museum was hit, and the original fossils, the holotype, the single most important specimen, they were completely incinerated. Just gone. Wiped off the map forever.
I mean, just think about the weight of that loss. The core evidence for arguably the most spectacular predator of its age just turned to dust.
And for the next half-century, the entire field was forced to rely on what? Just Stromer's notes. His detailed notes and his few beautiful illustrations.
And those notes, they suggested a huge carnivore. But because they didn't have complete limbs, paleo artists just had to default to the biggest body plan they knew.
The T-Rex body plan.
Exactly. The powerful two-legged stance of a T-Rex. And that's how we got that classic but totally incorrect vision of this terrestrial behemoth.
That data vacuum, it lasted all the way until the 1980s. That's when new discoveries finally allowed science to start filling in the blanks again.
And this was a huge turning point, because scientists found a related species in England, baryonyx.
Right, which wasn't known for a sail, but for these unbelievably massive hooked claws.
In finding baryonyx, what did that do?
It was huge. It confirmed that these predators belonged to a larger family, the Spinosauridae. And once you have more family members, you can start to, extrapolate. You can piece together what the whole group looked like.
And that extrapolation confirmed something pretty important.
It did. It cemented Spinosaurus as the largest theropod ever known. Purely based on size, he was the apex predator.
And the functional clues started to line up, right?
Oh, yeah. The initial clues were there from the start. That long, skinny snout. It just screams fish eater. Like a modern heron or a gator.
And the big claws from the rest of the family?
Perfect tools. Perfect for snagging slippery, huge fish right there on the muddy shoreline. So the picture became this highly specialized giant that lived and hunted at the water's edge.
But this is where the story gets really good. Because you can just imagine scientists happily building this picture, and then new fossils start coming out of the Chem Formation in the Sahara.
And they just made everything confusing.
Right. It's like the more we found, the less we actually knew.
And this is where that radical aquatic theory really takes hold and just changes everything. Because the new specimens, They had anatomical details that completely contradicted what everyone had thought for decades.
And it started with the legs.
The legs, yeah. The
Yeah.
hind legs were shockingly short compared to any other massive theropod.
If you try to stick that enormous body on those tiny legs.
It just doesn't work. On dry land, this thing would have been incredibly awkward, slow, unstable. It just pointed to one thing.
It was adapted for a life that wasn't on land.
Exactly. And it wasn't just the limbs. When they looked at the skeleton itself, they found the bones were way denser, more compact.
A condition called pachyostosis.
Right. And you see that today in semi-aquatic animals, like sea cows or penguins. It's used for buoyancy control.
And why is that such a big deal? It sounds kind of technical.
Well, it's a bigger deal than it sounds, because if you're just swimming on the surface, you don't really need heavy bones. But if you're trying to stay stable under the water...
Say, while you're ambushing a huge fish in a river current.
Precisely. Those dense bones help counteract the air in your lungs. They let you sink and stay put. And here's the conceptual leap. If it was really built for this, it would be the first truly aquatic dinosaur ever found.
Because we had things like plesiosaurs and mosasaurs.
But they weren't dinosaurs. They were marine reptiles. This find would have fundamentally rewritten what dinosaurs were capable of.
But then, hold on. If it was so specialized for water, why did anyone ever think it was a land giant in the first place? Was there any evidence that supported it walking on land?
And that's the central tension of this whole story. Everything suggested it needed to move, but the evidence for how it moved was all over the place. The case for the aquatic model only got stronger, though, with the tail.
The tail discovery.
New vertebrae revealed this long, narrow, flat tail. It was structurally a lot like the tail of, say, an axolotl or a newt.
A paddle.
A dedicated paddle, built for powerful propulsion in the water, not for balance on land.
And you see other hints of that too, right? In the feet?
Absolutely. The toe bones were long and really robust, a lot like modern shorebirds that spend all their time wading through muddy riverbanks. And then you go back to the snout.
The crocodile snout?
They found evidence of pressure receptors all along the jaw, just like a croc. Which means it wasn't just hunting by sight. It could feel the movement of prey in murky water.
So you've got dense bones, short legs, a paddle tail, and pressure sensors.
You couple all that with the fact that huge numbers of its teeth are found specifically in ancient riverbeds. And the case for a highly aquatic animal seems overwhelming. It really suggests it spent most, if not all, of its life in the water.
It paints such a compelling picture, the giant crocodile dinosaur. But if the case is so strong, why are we still having this debate? This is where the story takes another turn, because that fully submerged theory, it ran into some pretty serious problems.
It did. The conclusion was just a bit too easy. Once scientists started modeling the biomechanics.
The hydrodynamics of it.
Exactly. They based the models on the short legs and the huge torso, and they found that if the animal were fully submerged, it would be really unstable. That giant sail, the massive body, it would just tend to tip over sideways unless it was constantly moving forward.
Which is not great for an ambush predator.
Not at all. And the propulsion thing was an issue too. While the tail looked like a paddle, some argued that for an animal of this size, we're talking 20 tons, that tail seemed too weak.
Not enough thrust.
Not enough thrust to chase down fast-moving prey underwater. It could probably move itself along slowly, sure. But a high-speed submarine chase? Probably not.
So this brings us back to that iconic but really problematic sail. If it wasn't for swimming stability, what on earth was it for?
And that's when the alternative theories just exploded. One idea is visual display.
Like a peacock's tail.
Exactly. A huge display of health and dominance to attract mates. The bigger and healthier the sail, the better the mate.
Then there's the radiator theory.
Thermoregulation. A structure that massive, full of blood vessels, could have acted like a giant radiator to help it cool down in those warm tropical rivers. A bit like an elephant's ears.
Or maybe the most boring but plausible idea. The hump.
Right. What if it wasn't a sail at all? What if those spines just anchored a big fleshy hump, like a bison's? A place to store fat and resources for when times got tough.
So now we're left with two kind of equally strong possibilities.
You have the aquatic predator model. It behaves like a giant crocodile, spending most of its time in the water.
Or you have the specialized wading predator, more like a colossal grizzly bear. It sticks to the shallows using its claws to fish, but it can still get onto land to scavenge or grab other prey.
And this is why it's the ultimate mystery. It all comes down to data deficiency. The arguments rage, because we just don't have enough information.
It's incredible. We're trying to understand this dinosaur that defined an era, and we only have 6 known specimens. 6.
And they're all incomplete. They're all different ages, different sizes. It's like trying to solve a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle when you only have 6 pieces in your hand.
And the most fundamental parts are the ones we're missing.
Take the sail. Every single sail vertebra ever found has been broken. We can't say for sure if it was a smooth arc or if it had a more dramatic M-shaped profile, so we can't nail down its purpose.
And on land, the questions are just as big. We don't really know how it walked.
The short legs are the issue. Did it walk on its hind legs like a short-legged bear? Or was it more awkward, like a pangolin, maybe using its tail for balance as it moved? The mechanics are still so heavily debated.
We don't know how powerful the tail was. We don't know the sail's real function. We don't know its gait. The evidence just tells us what it could have been, not what it was.
But amidst all that uncertainty, there are a few things we know for sure.
Right. We know it was massive. It easily surpassed T-Rex in length and probably mass.
We know it ate fish, a lot of fish, and we know it spent a huge amount of its life in or very near the water, fishing. That much is concrete.
And maybe that's the real allure of Spinosaurus. It's one of the most incredible animals to ever live, precisely because its mystery forces us to rethink the boundaries of what a dinosaur could be.
The fact that the fossil record is so tantalizingly incomplete is what fuels the whole thing. This scientific drama keeps inspiring people. It provokes academic beefs.
And it definitely gets people riled up on paleo subreddits. It just goes to show you that in paleontology, sometimes the biggest discoveries are the ones that only raise more questions.
Yeah, the beauty of that incomplete evidence is that it leaves so much room for rigorous, creative interpretation.
So let's leave you with a final thought to mull over. We know Spinosaurus was specialized, it was massive, and it was adapted for fishing in those ancient North African rivers. So if its size and its weird locomotion evolved specifically to dominate an aquatic environment, you have to ask.
What was going on in those rivers?
Exactly. What unique evolutionary pressures beyond, competition with other land predators existed in those specific river systems 97 million years ago that demanded an animal like this?
Wow.
A uniquely specialized, overwhelmingly massive fish eater.
Think about the environment it had to navigate. The competition it faced from giant crocodiles and huge turtles, the sheer scale of the prey it was hunting. The few puzzle pieces we do have suggest an ecosystem utterly unlike anything we see today.
And that kind of environment required an animal unlike any we know.
Something to keep turning over in your mind as you consider the greatest cold case in paleontology. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.